You are tuned in to episode 101 of the Goodfellas podcast. It's your boy G5 Jeff TV, aka G5, aka 5, aka the Guru. Got my main man with me, VP Shane, in the building. What's going on, good brother?
Surviving, barely.
Surviving barely, man. You know, it's crazy because we haven't been on for 2 days, and we just recouping things like that. But it's always something that
And
happens in
it's
the sport
always
of
in
boxing.
sync. And it's always like whenever something's wrong with this, how I know there's a deeper connection between me and Jeff. Whenever something's wrong with Jeff, something's wrong with me. Like
Right.
he's been overworked and like his body's been almost run down into the floor. And I haven't spoken to Jeff for the last 2 days. And Jeff ain't spoken to me. But the last 2 days, I've been finished, like
Yeah.
absolutely complete. Like my throat, my body, every part of me's just been destroyed. And
Bro,
it's funny how we've been in the same place for the last 2 days.
yeah, it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Big shout out to my guy. Stay ready, man. Say what's good, family. Stay ready.
Yeah,
What's good with you, partner? Big shout out to you, man. Salute. Um, Diamond Rock in the building. Big shout out to Diamond Rock. Say, hey, champs, what's going on with you, Diamond?
what's going
Um,
on?
Listen, it's so we had the personal stuff, trying to fight through it, things like that, and then ESPN drops their list, and man, did they drop their list. And I feel like they do it on purpose. Like they give you about 2 or 3 joints inside of their pound for pound, and it's like you know they know that they're head scratchers, but the reason you put these things out is to spark conversation.
Evoke response.
Absolutely. Burt Wood in the building. Big shout out to my OG. Burt Wood said, G5, please demonstrate Inouye's knockdown, throw a feint left jab, and quickly throw a right cross. Donaire tried to counter Inoue left jab, but didn't notice it was a feint. So, to be honest with you, bro, that's the beauty of the feint. That's the beauty of the feint. When the main reason you throw a feint is to get your guy to react, either to react one or two ways, to get them to move where you want them to move, or for them to pause so you can get that next shot off. It depends on what you want them to do. So basically, but
And I was gonna say, if you look at the lead up to that knockout, uh, Inoue was doing a good thing, which was bouncing in and out, in and out of range, in and out of range. And he would do that with a poor jab, poor jab to bounce in, poor jab to bounce out. When I mean poor, I don't mean POOR, I mean PAW, which
yeah,
means like a little poor, like a little
yeah,
poor jab. And with that one, with the knockout, he actually steps in, and because of what he was doing previously, Donaire found it safe
mm-hmm.
throwing a counter punch. But the
Yeah,
actual thing was, instead of him bouncing out, he actually held his feet and landed a counter shot.
yeah,
Not yeah, I knew he held his feet and was able to land his counter punch. So
yeah.
that was just good boxing IQ from Inoue.
Yeah, and Inouye, when you got boxing IQ with physical talent, that's a dangerous combination, and Inouye definitely displayed that. But Bert, to answer your question, the feint is to get your guy to actually do something you want them to do, so you can get to the money shot. That's the whole purpose of the feint. He said, very good setup for a counter punch, counter the incoming counter. If Donaire notice it's a feint, then the right cross follow up, and Inouye is open for Donaire's left hook counter. It's a bang bang thing. It's a bang bang thing. Like if Inouye would have got if Donaire would have got the look that he got, that cross is available for him. He didn't get the look. He reacted off of a feint, and now he's open. You know what I'm saying? But that's the beauty of boxing. That's the beauty of high speed chess when it comes down to it. Diamond Rock says in bed. I wish I was in bed too, but
I'm
Shane and
in
I in
bed.
here.
I'm in bed right now, but I'm still cooking and working, bro.
Hey, listen, I'm not in bed, but I'm going in there right after this is over for real. Like we still trying to get right. Bruce, my guy, man, says salute my brothers, man. Salute to you, bro.
Respect.
Respect to you, man. You got a beautiful thing going on that channel over there, man. So for the people that don't know, I actually want to run down. Actually, I'm gonna actually share. I'm gonna share this this pound for pound list. Um,
Hello?
Hold on.
Everybody here for the interview?
I don't know what that was. I had the sound on. Hold on. I'm like, what is that? Hold on. Boxing pound for pound rankings. Well, I'm gonna read them off for the moment. I'm gonna read them off. So at number one, we got Terrence Crawford. Number two, we have Anui. Number three, we got Spence. Number four, we have Canelo. Number five, we have Tyson Fury. Number six, we have Alexander Usyk. Number seven, we have Vasily Lomachenko. Number eight, we have Dmitry Bivol. Number nine, Shakur Stevenson. And number 10, Devin Haney. I got all types of problems with this list. You want to go first, Shane? You want to go first?
Came at the right time because we were going to talk about pound for pound anyway. So we just seen 2 pound for pound fighters fight in the last week. So yeah, I struggle to see how you put Devin Haney in the list, but not Jamel Charlo.
Facts.
But then I don't struggle because Devin Haney signed to ESPN, so I don't struggle.
Yeah,
I mean, where do you want to start? I think.
Can we start with the obvious? We got to get Tyson Fury off the list. Period. We got to get Fury
Tyson
off. Get Fury off the list. We got to get him off the list. Period.
Get Fury off the list. I feel like it's fair to say let's.
I gotta get this. I gotta get it. I gotta get the picture up. Hold on, bro. Let me get this picture up. But keep going, bro.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. Go ahead.
I switched from mobile data to Wi-Fi. My bad.
Nah, you good. You good.
I think we could take.
We straight.
You said read through it again.
I got it. I'm about to put it up. I muted the thing. So.
Stay ready said something I want to address as well.
Actually, I do want you to address that, and I kind of want to get into that as well because that's kind of been the theme of the conversation. You know what I mean when it comes down to that. So can you hold on? Let me see. Let me make this. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. You're good.
Okay, so
the first problem I have is Terence Crawford's too high, and I love Terence Crawford.
Agreed.
I think pound for pound, as Blunt was saying in the last podcast, has to have a certain level of what have you done for me lately, you know. And
do you want to start from the bottom?
Yeah, let's start from the bottom.
Let's start from the bottom. Let's get through the comments first, and then we're gonna start from the bottom, and we're gonna work our way up. All right? How about that? So, Adrian in the building. Big shout out to Adrian. What's going on with your family? Burt Wood. When I got hit, I didn't even know I got dropped on there. Confess I didn't see that punch because I was trying to counter him and got caught. That's the beauty of boxing. The one that hurts is the one you don't see. That was pretty much it. That was the hardest punch I ever been hit with. Came up completely blank. I didn't see the punch coming at all. That's boxing. Bruce, he said another pound for pound debate. Oh no, trouble again. Hey, listen. This one gonna be a civilized one. I really just want to hear other people's opinions. I think maybe tomorrow I'll Shane will reveal his and I'll reveal mine. Shane, don't reveal your joint today. We just gonna go over this ESPN joint. Burt Wood, I didn't even know what happened. He said I was trying to counter. All of a sudden, I was on the floor and referee Michael Griffin was counting me. I was like, "What is happening? Are you kidding me?" And he said, then I looked in the corner and Rachel Donaire, Nonito's wife, trainer, manager said, "Put your hands up or he'll count you out." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I got dropped." That's crazy. Stay ready. Why is it Nui so high on anybody pound for pound? Because I can say he can't beat one of any of those guys if they was the same size, period. That's an interesting, we're gonna get into that in a second. That's an interesting take because I haven't heard anyone have that take on that. Let me run through the rest of these. Andre Southgate, salute all here listening. Big shout out to you, Andre Southgate. Go subscribe to Andre Southgate as well if you're not already subscribed. He said, I've been having a problem with a Nui just coming out the blue, making anybody's pound for pound. J.O. in the building said Usyk seems low at 6, Spence at 3 over Usyk. This is why we're here to have the conversation. So before you get started, Shane, let me scroll through the list. All right. So we got Crawford 1. We got, now this is ESPN's official pound for pound list. Terrence Crawford 1. The Nui is 2. Spence is 3. Canelo Alvarez is 4. Tyson Fury is 5. Alexander Usyk is 6. Vasyl Lomachenko is 7. Dmitry Bivol is 8. Shakur Stevenson is 9. And Devin Haney is 10. Now, let me read this formula real quick. It says the rankings are based on a descending point system with a first place vote receiving 10 points, a second place vote receiving 9 points, and so on. A tie goes to the fighter with the highest ranking, and then the one with the most votes at that ranking. Others receiving votes: Gervonta Davis, Jermell Charlo, Juan Francisco Estrada, Josh Taylor, Gennady Golovkin, Stephen Fulton, Chocolatito Gonzalez, Artur Beterbiev. And we can actually get into, so a little later on, we're gonna get into the writers and what they actually put down, because I'm glad that they have it, because specific writers haven't been highlighted yet. So off top, Shane, let's go with your top 3 problems with this list. I'm gonna go with my top 3, and then let's get into Stay Ready's comment.
Loma and Fury, you can take those 2 out. I don't know why it seems like I'm freezing.
You are a little bit.
I'm freezing. I don't know why this is happening.
You're good now, though. Now you're not good.
I'm good. I'm not good now. Jesus.
Now I can hear you now. Now I can hear you.
You can hear me now.
I can hear you right now.
Okay, so I'll take Lomachenko out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing I'll do. I'll take Fury out. Those are the 2 people that I'll take out. And I think Terence Crawford's too high. I think I'll take Bivol out as well. Those are the 3 people I'll take out.
Okay, so we got 4. Okay, you gave me an extra one. That's 4. So I'll go with 4 myself. Tyson Fury, I'm gonna say take him out because his body of work is at heavyweight. We really don't believe in the heavyweights being on a pound for pound, but I know you're saying, hey, but what about Usyk? A lot of Usyk's resume is at cruiserweight, and he was on our pound for pound at cruiserweight. So that's why he remains on the list. So Tyson Fury definitely comes off. Vasyl Lomachenko, I don't know how he's on the list. And that's no disrespect to Lomachenko. I don't know how he's on the list, but he comes off. I agree. Terrence Crawford is too high. He's definitely too high. And I've had my pound for pound. When I release my pound for pound tomorrow, it's going to be different than what I've probably had maybe a week ago, because I think what Blunt said, what have you done for me lately, factors into my new pound for pound list. And then Inui at 2. I'm up in the air about that. I got to sleep on that.
I'm not necessarily upset with Inui being at 2.
I'm not upset with Inui being. I'm not upset with Inui going high. So let's get into Stay Ready's comment. Let's actually bring this up. So he had 2 comments. He said, why is Inui so high on anybody's pound for pound? Because I can say he can't beat any one of those guys if they was the same size. I never heard anybody say it in that way. So let's address that.
I mean, that's very difficult to say. I don't know why you would say you don't think he can beat anyone if he was at that size. I think, like, athletically, he's as athletically gifted as anyone that is on that list, or you know, his hand speed, his foot speed, his head, his punch power, his physical strength, pound for pound wise, for a dude that's 118 pounds, I mean, I can't see why you would say that. And then when you look at the fact that this is a dude who is a multiple weight world champion, I don't understand why you would struggle. I mean, he's a person who's beaten the best at his division for years. For years he's beating the best at his division.
Break down some of his key wins for the people that may not.
I mean, what fight done it for me was the Rodriguez fight. That fight done it for me the most, because obviously we saw when he fought Payano, and Payano's been around the block for a while, and then he fought what's the Australian boy he just fought, the one that was on the undercard for Cambosis, Maloney. He was on Maloney. He beat Maloney, but the Rodriguez fight was the one for me, because Rodriguez was the one, because coming into that fight, this was World Boxing Super Series with 20-0, no, and he was a legit WBC champion at the time. Like, he had been at that weight class for pretty much his whole entire career. He never showed any chinks in his armor. Inoue just knocked him out in one round. And at that point, I was like, yeah, this dude's the real deal. Like, whether you want to question many things about this dude was the real deal. Like, to just knock a dude out who's never even touched the canvas, you never showed any flaws, to just knock him out in one round, that was something I've never seen before. And then, obviously, he went and fought Donaire the first time, and that was a controversial decision, but he got the win for that. And then Donaire coming back, beating Gobalo and Obali in devastating fashion. I'm thinking Donaire's on some prime form right now, and then Inoue knocks him out in 2 rounds. I mean, to question this dude's ability or skill level or his accomplishments, I just feel like it's just crazy. This guy's got 3 belts at this weight class. He's a unified champion at another weight class before. He's been a multiple weight world champion. He's beaten the best at multiple different weight classes. I just feel like you just can't really question it. Stay ready. He said he wants to get a link.
Oh, you want to get a link? All right, I got you, bro. My thing is with Inoue, and it's even with like the smaller weight classes. Like, I expect to hear, kind of more pushback with the smaller weight classes than the upper weight classes, because the upper weight classes are just more known. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could make the claim that Donaire might have been the hottest fighter in the sport. I could definitely make that claim off his last 2-3 victories. I would say between him and Stephen Fulton, but even with Fulton had a debatable in the mix. Donaire ain't had no debatables in his last couple joints. I mean, he was even an underdog in 2 of them. He was even an underdog in 2 of them. He's arguably the hottest guy in the sport. You can make that claim.
And he just gets iced in 2 rounds. I mean,
and he got smoked in 2 rounds. So I think that's we can't really sneeze at that. But I'm definitely gonna get you a link. Stay ready, and we ain't talk to you in a minute neither. So so let me see. So we're gonna start running down the list. J.O., he said Usyk seems low at 6. Spence at 3 over Usyk. I don't have. Well, let me take that one. So again, I'm not revealing my pound for pound list. I'm not going to reveal mine until tomorrow. But I do have Usyk ahead of Spence. You're on mute, baby. You're on mute.
I feel like it's fair to say most people know who my pound for pound number 1 is, so I don't need to hide that until tomorrow. Usyk is my pound for pound number 1. Jeff did bring up the fact that many people would say, why is Usyk in your list and he's a heavyweight? He was in my list when he was at cruiserweight. And I feel like it's stupid to remove him from my list just because he moves up a weight class. I mean, I just think that's a bit silly.
To be honest with you, it kind of what he's done at heavyweight validates his
cruiserweight
standing, so I can't take him off.
You can't take him off. That's the thing. Like
I
he
can't
to
take it
me,
on.
pound for pound means who's the best fighter in the world. Who is the
Yeah,
best fighter in
I
the world? And to me,
and
Usyk is the best fighter in the world.
I had to tweak. I had to tweak my criteria. I had to tweak my criteria in terms of my pound for pound list that's going to come out tomorrow. And once it comes out, I'm gonna put it out on Twitter and I'm gonna put it out on IG and Facebook. And if you want to have a discussion about it, we can definitely have a discussion about it. So
Did you give Stay Ready the link?
I'm gonna shoot it to him. I'm gonna shoot it
All
to
right,
him.
let me keep going through let me go through the comments.
Go ahead. You go through. Go ahead.
My question is, why is Loma on that list when he has 2 losses and Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk can't be on there because they are heavyweights? It defeats the purpose of powerful plan. I get what you mean, bro. I explained why I have Usyk on the list. I don't know why Loma's on the list though. Usyk should be 1. New Way should be 2 or 3. I get that. Hard for me to put Spence there since he's only been at 1 weight class. I get you, but it depends on what you do at that weight class as well. I'm also surprised to see no Jamel or Taylor. That's what I was surprised. No Jamel Charlo was a bit crazy for me. And to me, with Josh Taylor, fighters have bad nights and bad performances. His last fight wasn't that great. And for him to just not be on the list when you can look at most of those dudes on that list, they've all had bad performances. It's this crap pound for pound list messing up the Wi-Fi. Yeah, definitely. Bro.
That's funny.
Andre Southgate says Taylor should be on the list for sure. But that being said, not too mad about that category. Should be the champ now. True. I get what you mean, but I feel like if you look at that list, a lot of those dudes have had controversial wins or wins what have not necessarily been in their favor. You know, if you look at Charlo, for example, he's got 2 fights on his resume that he had lost and 1 draw. You know, Canelo's got multiple losses and he's still on the list. You know, so the fact that those dudes are on the list and Taylor isn't, you know, you can make that argument as well. Anyway, that much power at 120, 118. Exactly, that's my point. This dude's got power. Andre Southgate, salute, bro. Salute, bro. Shout out to you, bro. It's not difficult to say. G5, send me a link. I will come on and explain it. Please do. Please do.
I shot it to you, bro. Check your check the gram.
It's just sliding through. A new way, power insane and skill set insane. He's stopping top 5, top 10 level of position in less than 6 rounds, which is very rare to do. Very, very. Shane, I love you, bro. But let me ask you, name one fighter, one black fighter, and I'm being honest. What do you mean? Name one black fighter? What? Don't know.
I guess he's talking about a Dewey.
Do you mean that I knew his fought or beat? I mean, I can't.
I don't think there's anybody.
I don't think it. I mean, there's someone. The only person at that weight class that I could even see competing with him that's black is Zolani Tete, who is black, South African. But Zolani Tete got knocked out by Casemiro.
Yeah, I was getting ready saying Tete ain't ready.
Yeah, so ready. That's the only person. I mean, they were supposed to fight in the World Boxing Super Series final, but Tete didn't make it. Donaire made it, so it's very difficult to say.
Hey Shane, I'm gonna run through the rest of these. He said no pushback. I love the lower weight classes. Yeah, I love the lower weight classes too. Like usually, like 115 is really like my cap. Like I can go all the way down there, but 115 is really my cap though. Andre Southgate, time will tell with Crawford. He first needs to beat Spence to be considered that high. My guys, stay ready in the building. What's going on, big bro?
Man, what's up with it, family? What's up?
Ain't nothing, man. I'm gonna let you have the floor, baby. Talk to us.
Respect.
Yeah, I 100% Lomachenko should not be on the list, period. Y'all know how I feel about heavyweights being on anybody pound for pound. But y'all know my criteria.
We talked about that. Yes, sir. Hold on. Stay ready before you continue. Is Usyk off your list, period? Because then we got to open up another slot.
He's not on mine, but if somebody have him on there, I understand because he's one of the few that did move up.
Got you.
So I
Now,
understand that. So, but
do
he's
you
not
want
on
to?
mine.
Stay Ready's
Hey,
been consistent with this, by the way. He's been consistent with this.
he's on camera with us saying that in a previous podcast. So he's been very consistent with that. So stay
Yeah.
ready. How you want to run this? Do you have a pound for pound list you want to give to the people before you cook up? Or
I will give y'all my pound for pound. It's not
okay,
even, it's no problem with me giving mine. And we actually getting ours together to put it on the website soon. But
okay, okay.
I got Terrence Crawford #1, and I understand people say it's what have you done for me lately, but he just fought in November. He just
All
fought
right.
Sean Porter in November, so it wasn't that long ago. And we got people, ESPN, and we see people. Usyk ain't fought in how long, but he's steady on people pound for pound. So he just fought, so he's #1 in my eyes. And #2, Jermell Charlo. 154 for the longest was the hardest division, period. He went through a gauntlet to become champion and undisputed at that at 154 and to be the first person to do it. And to show the skills, he's literally beat every style there is to become undisputed. So that makes him #2. It's really kind of close up in the air between him and Crawford for 1 and 2, but I got Jermell 2. Earl Spence 3, because in a similar take, he's beating all the top fighters at 147 right now. It's not moving. It's not about moving up and down the divisions all the time. It's about what are you accomplishing in your career. And as of right now, if Earl Spence was to retire right now, he won't make the Hall of Fame, but he'd be right there on the edge, like he's about to break that door in. So yeah, he's #3 on my list. #4, I have, and it's gonna be crazy, but I got Devin Haney 4, and I have not so cold. Stephen Fulton 5.
Okay.
I respect that.
And
Yeah.
6, I have Tank Davis. And the reason I have Tank Davis is because Tank Davis is literally doing what Henry Armstrong did back in the day, hopping around weight classes, just beating up people.
To be fair, everybody that you've mentioned there, I don't really have a problem with other than Tank. The problem I have
But
with,
see, that's just the honorable mention. And I really thought of him as Shakur Stevenson.
Okay.
that's my argument would have been, because I know where you're going with your
Shakur
list. I'm
Stevenson
trying
is
to
my
see
favorite fighter. So for me not to even have
All
him
right.
on mine, that's just
the
Yeah,
thing.
he got to have him on the list. He got to have him.
The thing is with Tank is I respect your list. I mean, we can go down the list. You've given justifications for every single one. With Tank Davis, why I couldn't put him there personally is because he's, in my opinion, he's never beaten the best in any weight class. So I respect what you're saying, but that's just my personal opinion.
Who was the best at 130?
He's the best at 130. I think at the time.
But that's what I'm saying. Who was the best for him to
No,
fight at 130?
I'll explain. I feel like at the time when Tank was, most of his career was at 130, when he was fighting most of his fights at 130, I think the general consensus would have been Lomachenko, because Lomachenko had multiple belts at that weight class.
True.
Yeah, I think Tank is a victim of
Mayweather promotion.
Floyd.
Mayweather promotion.
Yeah, he's a victim of Floyd. That's the only reason he's not on my list, man. But it's
I picked Tank to beat everyone 126 to 140. I think he beats every single person.
I don't.
You think he pinks? I think he beats Tiafimo. I think he beats Lomachenko. I think he beats every single one of those dudes. I just need to see him fight those dudes.
I don't think he beats Shakur Stevenson.
I mean, Shakur Stevenson to me, I think he's the next superstar. To me, Shakur Stevenson's on my list every day, bro. I love Shakur Stevenson.
I love Shakur, and the reason I guess because I expect so much out of him and I haven't seen it yet, and I know it's coming, that I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
I rate Shakur higher than I rate Devin Haney, because to me, as much as, and I've said this before, as much as I respect Devin Haney and what Devin Haney's done, he's got an amazing accomplishment, becoming undisputed and doing it abroad. The youngest undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. Can't take that away from him. But when you look at the specific wins itself, I respect Valdez and Herring higher than I respect Kambosos and Linares, for example. I mean, I've never thought Kambosos was a good fighter. I
I
even said
didn't
that
either.
before in the past.
I had to argue with a boxing coach here in Houston. Me and him had an argument because he told me Cambosos was going to knock Devin out because Devin can't box. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, are we watching the
He's a
same?
coach. Is he a coach? And he said that.
He's a boxing coach. And he
I would
told
have
I don't
me
never
even want.
entertained
I
that
don't even.
argument.
I
he,
don't
hold
even
I
on,
would
want to
have
he
know his
never
told
name.
argued it.
he told me he's just athletic.
The hell no.
The truth
Hell
is,
no.
you
And
know
I'm
the
looking,
craziest
I'm
thing?
like, Coach, are you serious?
I don't
Yeah.
even think, and this is why I'm going to say something. I actually don't even think Devin Haney relies on his athleticism that much. He
He
actually
doesn't.
doesn't.
The only time you see the athleticism in Devin is when he's using defense. Most of his
Yeah.
offense is
Yeah.
fun. His offense is more fundamentally sound than a lot of the fighters at his weight. The only person that has more fundamentals as far as boxing fundamentals go is Lomachenko.
Lomachenko, yeah.
I don't even think Devin has even hit his peak yet. I don't think he
Jeff,
anywhere near his peak.
Jeff, before we go to the comments, can I give my pound for pound list today? I know you said tomorrow,
You
but
want? I'm holding mine off to tomorrow, but you go ahead and give yours, bro. Go ahead, shoot.
okay, so I'm gonna say Usyk number one, but I know what Stay Ready said, so I'm not gonna go around in circles with what Stay Ready said because the truth is, I understand what you're saying. I made my statements. I 100% respect where Stay Ready's coming from. My number two is Terence Crawford. Whilst it is what have you done for me lately, I do feel like a body of work should be respected as well because I've said this numerous times. Floyd was pound for pound number one for years, and he hadn't been fighting the top level of opposition.
And he was only fighting once a year.
Even when Andre Ward was doing crazy stuff year after year, fight after fight, they wasn't putting in pound for pound number one, and that was purely and simply because Floyd was there. So, so I put Terence Crawford number two. My number three, and this is where me and Stay Ready is probably gonna go back and forth with it. My number three is actually Inoue, and I just feel like, and I feel like when you look at the multiple weight classes he's fought at and how he's dealt with the top level opposition in his weight classes, I just feel like you have to give him credit for that. Number four, I would have gone.
I was gonna say it's nothing against what he's doing in his weight class because I think the kid is good. Like I really do. And I'm a Nonito Donaire fan. I like the lower weight classes because you get so much action out of those classes.
Yep.
My thing is, like, let's say this tomorrow, if Inoue decides to move up and they make that fight with Cool Boy Steph, who wins?
That's a tough fight. I think
That's a
obviously
real tough fight.
when it
Not for
comes
me.
down to power, you're obviously gonna lean towards Inoue, but then boxing skills, you're gonna
Every
lean
time.
towards Bolton. So
But the power don't win you fights.
no, it doesn't. But do you not feel like the fact that Inoue has to move up a fourth weight class to find someone to beat him, he deserves a bit of credit?
It's I'm not saying that, and you're right, but in a lot of these weight classes, you get a lot of these guys. Gary Russell, think about this: who was better at 126 than Gary Russell?
Before
Nobody.
the Loma fight, right?
Yeah, before the Loma
Yeah.
fight.
No, he was top dog. He was
Top
top
dog.
dog.
Nobody ever gave him credit for beating everybody up.
Yeah, no.
At that particular,
It's literally nobody there. The same as Arthur Beterbiev or Bivol at 175. Like, who is there to beat either one of those two? Those are number one and number two. I've been saying that for a long time. And no discredit to Joe Smith, but Joe Smith got beat up by Demetrius Bivol. It was a good fight in the beginning, but you got beat up by Bivol. I won money on that fight, matter of fact. I hate to say it, but he's probably gonna get knocked out this weekend or next weekend. But number one, number two. But how many people are putting them in the top five? Those two guys. You get what I'm saying? Like, they're beating everybody up at their division because they don't have nobody to challenge them really in that division.
No, I get what you mean, and obviously you gotta question, you gotta look at a division. That's why when people talk about Errol Spence and Errol Spence not moving up, I actually understand. He's at a weight class where you actually have a lot of work to do. So it's much harder to become undisputed at that weight class than, let's say, a 140 or a 120, 118 or whatever. But I get what you mean. I feel like, the last name I'm going to mention, you're definitely gonna dislike, because I even struggle to put this dude in my top 5. But I have to. The truth is, Charlo and Canelo's always been where I'm on the fence, because Canelo's achieved so much in his career, but then Charlo, for me, he's the form fighter. And based on what he's done for me lately, he's in my top 5. But there's been a time where I had Canelo ahead of Charlo.
And don't get it wrong, Canelo was actually number 1 on my list before he lost to Bivol. But that loss knocked you out. Just because you was out there trying to be great doesn't take away that you still lost.
Facts.
So
Yeah.
that's why I took him out. Because if y'all look at it right now, at the majority of a lot of these fighters, the moment they lose, they take them out. But when you got somebody like Loma, Canelo, Inoue, they leave them there. I'm gonna treat them like they treat us.
I mean, you brought up a comment of name one black fighter. What were you talking about in response to Inoue?
When I meant that with Inoue is I look at that same way as I look at somebody like Oscar Valdez or a lot of those guys. Y'all move not Inoue. I think Inoue actually will fight anybody. There's nobody in his weight class for him to fight. But you can't tell me without a shadow of a doubt the majority of the top skilled fighters in boxing are your African American fighters or your Afro fighters.
They're the most represented on my list.
Yeah, they're the most represented on my list. Same here.
And let me run through these comments real quick. Where did we leave off at?
Fuck knows where we were, bro.
Hold on, I read that one. J.O. said, yeah, the monster is a beast. He is a 3-division champ with title defenses at each division. He's a WBA, WBC, IBF champ. You can't overlook that at all. He beat Donaire twice, who was a 4-division champ. J.O.
Donaire's a monster.
Donaire possibly was the hottest fighter in the sport going into that fight. You can make the argument he was the hottest fighter in the sport. The victories that he had his last 2-3 joints, and the fashion in which he got them, and then he was underdogs in 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? And he was mopping dudes, just straight mopping dudes, man. But the fact that Donaire, was coming in that hot, and Inoue did that was crazy. Adrian, he said, not only does Inoue pass the eye test, but he also has the resume. I think Inoue is hard, man. But stay ready. Can we agree on this? This is the first time probably in the last maybe 5-6 years where there's a legit probably 15 names and we got to try to squeeze them into a 10-spot joint.
I'm not gonna lie. Boxing is really good right now.
We in a good space.
A lot of names. Yeah, it's a lot of names.
Space.
And technically, I'm telling y'all, so the majority of my pound for pound is not your new school way of doing pound for pound. Mine is the old way. Mine is actually looking at somebody for their skill level, and if they were in another division, would they own that division?
I know you done that because you said it in the comment, and that is a very old school way to look at it. That's basically how they were doing it with Ray Robinson back in the day. So I know that's how you.
But that's the reason. That's the reason they came up with pound for pound.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, the only reason they changed pound for pound was the media changed pound for pound because they wanted to highlight people that wasn't getting highlighted. So they started, because at the time in the late 80s, early 90s, who outside of any black fighter was on anybody's pound for pound?
I mean, how I look at it, and this is just, I've always seen pound. I've grown up in a completely different era to both of you guys. I've always seen pound for pound because I grew up in the Floyd era. I've always seen pound for pound as who's the best fighter in the sport. So my list is always based on who are the best fighters in the sport, based on accomplishments and ability. That's how I've always based my pound for pound list.
Yeah, Ray Robinson was the
greatest of all time.
He was the reason why the pound for pound list was made. So he's equivalent to what Will Chamberlain was in basketball. They had to completely change the dynamic because of him. And then as he kind of faded out, they had to add other aspects to really get other people highlighted and things like that. Let me run through the rest of these. Andre Southgate, Usyk is the man for sure. I want to see him beat Fury though to be number one.
I mean, the truth is, what can you go back to that comment though? Let me go back to that comment. The reason why I say, and I'm not saying Andre Southgate, you're wrong for this, but the reason why I say it's potentially unfair is because you're asking Usyk to be pound for pound number one by accomplishing something that nobody else in this era has ever done, which is be undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. Nobody in this, you're not asking anybody else in boxing to do that other than Usyk. You're not asking any other fighter to do other than Usyk. So
And
I
the
just
only
feel,
other person that has a chance of doing that as of right now is Terence Crawford.
yeah, Terence Crawford. And that's why I'm saying it's like no one is saying, okay, in order for Charlo to be pound for pound number one, he has to move up to middleweight to become undisputed. That would be unfair on
Let me
Charlo because he just cleaned out a division. You see my point? And I feel
let me
like
take let
when,
me take that thought. Let me go ahead, Shane. Go ahead. My
I'm sorry
fault.
to cut you off
My
because my
fault.
final point is if Charlo was to move up to 160 and become undisputed, we're not talking about Charlo the best in this era anymore. We're talking about Charlo as an all-time great
Great.
Hall of Famer. You see my point? If Usyk was to go up and beat Fury, we're not talking about Usyk as a pound for pound great in this era. We're talking about him as a great fighter in all times of boxing, and I feel like that is every fighter. If that's the standards that we're judging them by.
Hey, this question is for both of y'all, and actually, this comment actually sparked this. I never thought about this until I read the comment. Now, we're asking Usyk to become undisputed in 2 different weight classes. So my question is this: can Haney go up to 140 and beat Josh Taylor right now?
Good question.
And I'm gonna tell y'all something, and as crazy as it sounds, I was actually thinking about that earlier today. And I love Devin Haney. I love Bill. Everything they doing. Skill level, I think Devin has like a one up on Josh's skill level. But one thing I got to give Josh is to be as slick and elusive as he is. He puts on pressure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even though Kambosos was trying to put on pressure, Linares is a good pressure fighter. I've seen Devin face pressure fighters, but none that fights in the style of Josh Taylor. So stylistically, if we're just looking at each of them stylistically, I'd pick Devin. But I I think it'll be a great fight. I'm still weary about Josh Taylor because he's a dog, man. He really is a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with the Josh Taylor fight, straight up, is the fact that as much as I love Devin Haney and I love what Devin Haney will do, him moving up to 140, I feel like we can all say Josh Taylor's walking through most of the shots that Devin Haney's throwing.
Yeah.
And
I
that's the
disagree.
problem that I have.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Shoot.
Why?
A lot of people think he's feather fisted, but I don't think he's feather fisted because think about this. Think about somebody like a Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz was walking through Tevin Farmer's punches. He wasn't walking through Devin punches, and Devin was pushing him back. I watched Devin spar Rolly Romero. He was pushing Devin and pushing Rolly and keeping him on the ropes.
Facts.
Just because we see him tapping and moving, don't mean that it's not there. I think he has the deceptive power that we don't see because it doesn't look like he's putting anything on his punches.
Let me follow up with that real quick, Shane. So we had this discussion before Stay Ready, like earlier in the week. So we had it was last week. We had Boot Strifford conditioning coach on Rob Acosta. We had him on and we asked him about Devin Haney. And he said, and Padman said this too, Padman McGriff, who's working with him directly. Big shout out to Padman. They both said the exact same thing. They was like, they feel like he's actually going to be stronger at 140. Like once he gets there and he starts like really filling out, he's actually going to have more pop at 140.
What if you were a major transit
hold on a
facing
second.
cyber attacks? So you partner with IBM.
Bro, yeah. Continue.
Yo, I had it on mute for a minute. But so they both said they thought he was gonna really be cracking pretty good at 140. I personally said that he doesn't have. I don't think he's feather fisted either, because the true sign of somebody being feather fisted is when you're consistently getting walked down. I haven't seen Devin Haney get walked down once in his career.
Devin Haney don't get walked down. I wasn't really making that statement based on what I've seen.
Oh yeah, I know you wasn't, bro.
I was making that statement based on what I've seen of Josh Taylor. I've seen Josh Taylor walk down punches. Like, he walked through punches, Josh. Like, I mean, when he fought Ramirez, he didn't have any respect for Ramirez's power.
Ramirez can crack.
Ramirez can crack. Respect for
but you know what? Ramirez got about power. He don't have one punch knockout power. He's a high volume puncher, so he you know, his power is different. And he's a high volume puncher. Like, this boy throws 100 punches plus around.
I think stay ready. I think with Haney, with the problem he would have against Josh Taylor is Josh Taylor. Number one, he's going to quicken the pace. That's number one. He's definitely going to have to play high speed chess with him. That's number one. And number two, the day Devin Haney loses is the day that he fights outside of his character. Josh Taylor may be the only person at 140 that's going to be able to do that. Him and probably maybe Regis Program. They're the only two at 140 that I feel like can make Devin fight a different fighter than he usually fights.
That's why I was looking at Josh Taylor like that, because, dog, read the way him and Regis fought.
Oh, yeah, crazy.
I mean, that was one of the first fights where I saw a fight and my respect for both dudes went up. Even though there was a winner and loser, my respect for both dudes went up, because I saw everything that I could see in that fight.
Crazy. Let me run through the rest of these real quick. Comments real quick. Chris G, Usyk should be counted because he's been in 2 weight classes, undisputed in 1 and 3 belt champion at heavy. If you've only been a heavyweight, then I have a hard time putting you in. I said the same thing. Andre Southgate, Chris G, no doubt, becoming heavyweight champ is a different ball game. Heavyweight hit way harder. Chris G, Usyk, Inoue, Crawford should be in your top 3 right now.
I mean, when people talk about Jamel Charlo.
Yeah, let me run through the rest of these, and I actually want to get into the Jamel thing. I want to get into that. J.O., he said, was Holyfield on the pound for pound list when he went from cruiserweight to heavyweight? I can't remember.
You know what? I don't remember, but I don't remember
either.
Whole Ring magazine, because ESPN didn't put out a pound for pound back then.
I don't know.
Ring magazine, and it was another boxing magazine. What was that other boxing magazine back then?
KO magazine. I don't know.
Didn't Everlast have one? Didn't Everlast have a magazine?
I think so. I know Sports Illustrated had a pound.
Sports Illustrated had one too.
Sports Illustrated, KO magazine. You had obviously you had.
Wasn't Ring magazine out back then too?
Yeah, Ring magazine been out since Ring magazine been out.
I know the number one. What's the one that everybody the one that's still out now? Boxing Monthly.
Boxing Monthly. That's the one I was talking about. Boxing Monthly. I had to go back and look up, because that was in 90. Was that 91?
That was early 90s. It was at 90.
I mean, but when he beat Buster Douglas and became undisputed, what was that, 93?
I think it was 93. We could J.O. we could check into that. Chris G, Jamel would be at the bottom 3, but he'd be above Spence for me because he's only been at 1 weight class. I see Crawford beating Spence, so he'll be.
I gotta get out of that weight class, moving up thoughts to making pound for pound.
Fact. I feel like the one of the main reasons why is because I've never rated Shakur Stevenson for what he won.
He's a 2 division champion. So is Jamal Charlo. He's a 2 division champion.
It's what you do at that weight class that's more important. The name you have on your resume.
It's who you fighting. It's your style, and showing that your style of fighting is better than everybody else's style of fighting.
Yeah. J.O. Josh Taylor beat Postal, Ramirez, Regis. He went undisputed, and last 6 opponents he beat were undefeated. Jamel lost and got a draw on his undisputed run. How was he higher over?
He ran it back, though. He ran
it back and made it right, though. No. I hear you. I hear you, J.O.
Hold on. So the pound for pound for Ring Magazine in 1993. Number 1 was Pernell Whitaker. Number 2 was Julio Cesar Chavez. 3, James Toney. 4, Michael Cabrera. And 5, Orlando Canizales. But number 6 was Evander Holyfield. 7 was Ricardo Lopez. 8 was Roy Jones Jr.
That was before the Tony and Roy fight.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Roy was 96.
Yeah. So
and Evander Holyfield was rated number 1 in heavyweight at the time.
That's crazy, isn't it? Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. Andre Southgate, Tank will be there soon. I see him achieving great things. I think he's another. To be honest with you, Tank has to make a decision on what weight class he gonna roam around in. Because I'm gonna tell you what I don't want to happen to Tank. I don't want him roaming around multiple weight classes like Canelo did. There's weight classes for a reason. He need to find his spot and dance in that spot.
I just think he just needs to leave Leonard Ellaby and Floyd Mayweather, bro. That's the first.
He needs to stay at 135 because it's nobody at 130 for him except Shakur, and Shakur's gonna move up. Shakur's gonna move up, and right now 140 is dead man land.
Yeah. Well, hold
people
on. You
at 140. Yeah, I love 140, but it's dead man land right now.
It's not a lot of big names, but it's a lot of good fighters, though.
It's a lot of good fighters. Williams Zepeda, Honor Barbosa, Regis, Josh, the dude Josh almost lost to.
Catterall.
Yeah, Catterall. It's a lot of.
The other day we went through 140 the other day. It's stacked. It's ridiculous.
140. And my guy,
doesn't have a.
Brandon Lee is there as well. That's another.
Brandon Lee. My guy, Subriel Matisse. He's a dark horse in that division.
I know this guy. I know he hasn't fought in a while, but even Robert Easter's at 140. That division is dead.
Robert Easter's not gonna fight no time soon, man.
I know that's right.
Yeah. He's still recovering.
Yeah, of course.
And to be honest with you, and I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna send Regis a message tonight. I'm gonna see if he can.
Regis need to jump on, man. Regis need to jump on with us, man.
I can make that happen.
Yeah, Regis need to jump on with us, man. Because we need to chop up 140.
I mean, Regis. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not Regis' fault.
I know it's not.
The truth is, you can tell because we just put out a post the other day. I think you reposted it as well.
Yeah.
He was like, nobody calls this dude's name at 140. This is the only. I think the whole 140 division all breathed a sigh of release when he didn't get that decision against Josh Taylor, because now he's in that column of I don't need to fight him anymore. Like once you lost that strap, dudes are like, oh, thank God I don't need to fight Regis.
Right. I swear, because hey, you know, it's only 2 people Regis really has lost to more, and that's Earl and Josh Taylor. He lost to Earl at Nationals. He lost to Earl 3 times.
Yeah.
And he really wants that smoke, but
I know he do. But you can tell, hey, stay ready. You can tell when somebody talking that talk and they really want that action. You can tell, like and the eyes don't lie. The eyes don't lie. Like you can look at him and you know he want that smoke. Chris G, No Way Tank is on the top 10. Who has he fought? He's a 1 division world champ. If
he's not,
we are being real,
champ, but I get what you mean.
I gotta disagree with him on that. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm one of the same people that argues with people all day that Tank ain't fighting nobody. But I gotta give him credit for going to 140 and fighting Marios Barrios. Because whether y'all like it or not, Marios Barrios was a top 5 140 pounder, and he went up there and made it look easy.
Stay ready.
Point. You could argue that Tank's resume is better than Devin Haney's. I'm being dead serious. Forget the undisputed. Forget the accomplishment.
You can't.
Look at the name.
Jorge, who's better? Let's outside of Marios Barrios, who's better than Jorge Linares on Tank resume?
Pedraza.
Pedraza was only a champion at 130, and that was an IBO champion. But you gotta think about who Linares is fighting, who he's beating.
But Linares is also a fighter who's lost before and after that. It's when Devin Haney fought him. When you look at it, I think you look at Devin Haney's resume. You look at. Go ahead.
Jojo Diaz.
Jojo Diaz, I think Leo Santa Cruz. I think Leo Santa Cruz is a more accomplished fighter than Jojo Diaz.
I don't think so. I think Jojo would have demolished Leo Santa Cruz.
I think Jojo Diaz was a fighter who was coming off a questionable decision against Rakhimov, and I thought when he fought Devin Haney, he got beat so comprehensively. I think Tank Davis' resume is arguably better than Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney's got maybe two names that I'm really impressed.
I'll say this: their top. If you compare their top 3 victories, it's a lot closer than what people think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot closer than what people think.
It's mainly because I don't rate Kambosos. I think
he don't. Shane can't. Let me tell you something about Shane. Shane don't rate Kambosos, and he don't rate Linares.
I rate Linares more than I rate Kambosos. I swear to God, I rate Linares more than I rate Kambosos.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. That boy shit really. I really didn't like Kambosos, but that boy shit when he was over there and that racist Apatown, I really don't like Kambosos.
Yeah.
And I think if he fought Teofimo Lopez, he loses. I swear to God, I think. Bro, I don't think this guy's a good fight.
But I
won money on that Teofimo fight only because only reason I bet against Teo because I didn't think his head was in the fight.
Yeah, we kind of had the drop on that before the fight. We didn't think he was gonna pull off the upset, but we knew Kambosos had the drop on Teofimo for a while.
I got a lot of money on Trevor Bryan this weekend.
That joint 16-1. That thing crazy.
How much money did you put down? Stay ready. Please don't tell me you put too much money down. How much money you put down?
I put about 400.
400, bro.
The over under in rounds is 3.5.
Bro, you should have. You
seen that, bro?
You should have messaged me.
Talk to me.
If I lose, I lost. But if I win, that's a hell of a win. And Trevor Bryan ain't no slouch.
No, he's not no slouch. He's not no slouch.
He got a good jab. The problem with Daniel Dubois is he can't get away from that jab.
And Brian has a good jab. I am going to say that. I think
he does, but I just think he's going to get overwhelmed with punches. Like as soon as Dubois gets in the pocket, he's just going to let 6-7.
The only thing I think he's going to gas out if he loses.
Dubois got now. I think with all of Dubois' fights, he got like a 5-round window.
Yeah.
In all of his fights, he got a 5-round window. If he don't put in major work or get his guy up out of there 5 rounds in, I'm a little sketchy on him. But that's what most power guys though. So I'm actually. Can Trevor Bryan get out of the first 4 rounds? That's really going to be the key. If he can get out of the first 4 rounds clean, it's going to get interesting. But I'm like, those are extremely high numbers. It's like 16-1, bro. Like it's crazy.
I know it's that. I've never seen a champion come in that low.
Never.
Ever.
Like that's crazy.
It wasn't even that low for Wilder or Stavern.
No, it wasn't.
What was Bivol when they get Canelo?
I won money. Yeah, it was actually Bivol was no. It was 6-1. It was it was a plus 625. That's what I bet.
It went up. When I seen it, it was.
I lost because I thought Canelo was gonna win, and I just bet on the over under. But my homeboy actually won. He hit on that because he picked Bivol.
We picked Bivol. We just thought the judges was gonna rob you, so we didn't.
That's what I thought. I swear I said the same thing. I said the only reason Bivol loses because Canelo got the first 4 rounds in his pocket. And was I lying? I wasn't lying. He had the first 4 rounds.
He had the first 4 rounds. It didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
He had the first 4 rounds against Austin Trout. They came and told Austin Trout he was down 4. I'm like, how? What fight are they watching? But they
talking about Charlo and Canelo?
No, Canelo and
Austin Trout.
Oh, Canelo and Austin Trout. Yeah, they was bugging. Big time. Chris G, how can someone be pound for pound fighting in house fights only and fighting Rolly? So Chris, this is my boxing son. Let me explain this real quick, bro. So with the pound for pound list, you got that eye test, which a lot of old school guys you know they look at the eye test. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at it, no matter who Tank fighting, you give him a legitimate shot at anybody at 130, 135, and 140. Like regardless of who he's fighting. Now, me personally, he's not on my top 10 because of Floyd. But if it wasn't because of Floyd, he would be in my top 10 if we talking pure just talent.
I want to see him fight Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney.
He knocks Ryan Garcia smooth out.
The fuck out.
Smooth.
Hey, I got a question because I've been on this little. This is my thing. I'm not talking about Ryan no more. I'm not speaking on Ryan no more. I'm not mentioning his name. I don't want to talk about him. We're dealing with no news because, bro, we've sat back and talked about this kid for going on 5 years, and I've been talking about this kid since before he had the fight that he had on Facebook and almost lost. That's how long I've been watching him and been talking about this kid, and he's been trying to make fights or calling out these fighters and not fighting nobody. He had a chance to fight Tank. He pulled out. He could have fought Fortuna before. He pulled out. He could have fought Devin Haney for the championship, and he pulled out. But he keep talking these fighters' name, and I'm like, bro, at some point, you got to fight somebody. Even a former champion, you got to fight somebody. But you're not fighting nobody. I'm like done speaking this dude's name because I feel like if we mention his name, we building him up. I feel like as a whole, all boxing fans need to just don't even speak on this.
Go on.
Ryan Garcia is not really a hot topic on this platform, but a lot of people talk about him. I will say this though. This is my main problem with Ryan Garcia. I haven't seen improvement technically. I just see speed. A lot of the little subtle things and things that I watch in a fighter, I don't see it. He's getting away with pure speed.
That keep saying, Jeff, stop saying that because he doesn't have speed. He just has hand speed. There's a difference.
There's no speed. So when you think speed, you're thinking hand speed. So we're saying the same thing.
He doesn't have speed and he doesn't have head movement. So I don't. That's the only.
But when you say somebody, but when you say Gary Russell's fast, you don't think it's feet.
Shit, I think of the whole package.
When I think of someone being fast, I'm actually talking about twitch. So how fast is their twitch?
Well, I
don't see fast when I see Ryan Garcia.
But Shane, but in terms of pure hand speed, he has top 5 pure hand speed. Yeah, that's all he gets away. That's all he gets away with. He's surviving off him. I don't see anything else with his game where it's actually improved.
I'll give you an example. Amir Khan, for example. Everybody used to speak about him having speed. The dude had foot speed as well and hand speed.
But nobody talked about that though, because it's different levels of actual boxing talk. So you gotta scale it. You gotta scale it down. We talk that way. But you tell a normal fight fan, yo, that dude got speed. They're thinking hands. They automatically thinking hands. You know what I'm saying? But I think total package as well.
I'll give you an example. People were saying, Kambosos was saying before the fight that he has more speed than Devin Haney. And that's my point of why he thought he had more speed because he had a quicker recoil in terms of his punches. He's not going to have quicker hand speed. It's what they had this narrative before the fight. But my problem with Ryan, and this is my problem, and the reason why I don't really care about Ryan is because at the end of the day, he's going to be compared to the dudes in his era. He's going to be compared, and I compare Ryan Garcia to Conor Benn in the sense that in Conor Benn's era, you got Stanionis, you got Boots, you got Virgil. Conor Benn's going to be compared to those dudes. Ryan is going to be compared to Devin Haney, Tank Davis, and Teofimo Lopez. He's the only one who's never won a world championship. He's never won a world title.
He hasn't fought for one.
So at the end of the day, I let the stats and the history books speak for itself. You can't come into this conversation because you're not a world champion and you've never been a world champion. So I'm not going to regard you and have you at the same level as I got the other dudes. You have to play your position as a as a prospect. I can't even say a contender.
Yeah, I just for me, there's so many holes in his game that gets camouflaged by the hand speed. His head is straight. His head is 1230, straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? No head movement. Now, in his last fight, he tried to implement a version of a shoulder roll, which really wasn't a shoulder roll. It was just Tagu was so short, and he was throwing his hook short too. It wasn't even extending past the shoulder, so all he had to do was turn like this, and he was deflecting it. He wasn't even covering his chin. He was just standing straight up and going like this, and everything was deflecting off. So even that was a camouflage. Like I like the Goosen move, but we all know it takes about 2 to 3 camps for a trainer to really put they stamp on things. So I'm looking to see what he does going forward.
His feet still seem slow. Like if anything,
no, and his feet is slow.
His feet look even slower.
Yeah, his feet
made his feet look even slower in that fight.
Yeah, his feet is he reminds you know what he reminds me of with his feet? His feet reminds me of AB's feet. They plant so much that they don't really move their feet. They try to plant and get maximum leverage on every single shot, and they don't realize that when you're lighter on your feet and you're making chest moves, you're putting yourself in better positions to land money shots. And them dudes are so used to just putting their feet in the sand and like, I'm swinging right here.
It's a Latino problem. A lot of Latino fighters struggle with foot speed.
Yeah, hey, read that one, Shane. That's for you.
Shane, when Inoue moves up to 122, will it be 50-50 fight with Fulton versus Inoue? Then I put Inoue pound for pound one. I mean, everybody keeps saying this. I love Stephen Fulton, one of my favorite fighters, but it's not even a guarantee that Fulton is the best at 122 right now. I'll be honest. 122 is a monster division.
Yeah, Ahmed Aliyev is a monster. Rais Aleem is a monster. 122 is where he's at. Rios is nice. Actually,
Neri's there. Brandon Figueroa's there. I mean,
and Rais Aleem opponent is not bad neither. Mike Plania, he's a good fighter too. So 122 is like super stacked. But the reason I would not really address that is because if he gets Ahmed Aliyev next, he's probably going up to 126. So I have more. For me, it's more of Fulton not being there at 122 more so than Inoue moving up. I think Fulton's probably going to move up because he's a big boy. He's a big 122. Stay ready, bro. Me and YSM Sports Media, I done told this several times on the channel, but we was in the gym. We was in Bozy in his gym, and we're standing behind Fulton, and he was just like hitting the bag. And we like, yo, that can't be Fulton. And it was like, yeah, like, and he is like a tank. Like, he is like a tank. And I'm like, because this was after the Leo fight. So we like, why was he going in there fighting Leo's fight? When you actually see him physically, you see why. Like, he went in there and like bullied the bully. Like, it almost backfired on him against Figueroa. But that's a big dude. That's a big 122. So I can really see him going up the 126 for sure. W Right Side says salute G5 panel in the chat. Big shout out to you. Mr. 100 Rounds said respect to all, one love. Appreciate you, family. J.O. said thanks, stay ready for the information on Holyfield. Yeah, stay ready, was spot on with that. Mr. 100 Rounds, where you rank Joe Calzaghe on your pound for pound? Are we talking all time or what we talking about, 100 Rounds?
That's one
his
thing.
Era.
Hold
on. He might be talking about back then. He might be talking about back then. Calzaghe was definitely top 5. Top 5 for sure. He was definitely top 5.
Now I can't have. He wouldn't be in my top 10 right now because
he was top 5 back in his prime.
Yeah, my top 10. You would be surprised. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
You talking about at the division
of all time?
All time. I don't even. I gotta think about that, bro. I gotta think about that. Go ahead, bro.
I don't. It's simple. Sugar Ray Robinson. That's number 1. Floyd Mayweather, Henry Armstrong, Sugar Ray Leonard, And then number 5, I gotta have Roy Jones Jr. because for what he did, like I don't think anybody else can take Roy Jones' style and utilize it. And
Yeah,
Roy came in with a new style and came in and did something different. Like that's my top 5 of all time.
I mean,
yeah, I gotta think
I
about
rarely
it.
talk about of all time because I don't like talking about fighters that I haven't seen live. So
Man,
I don't really speak
go.
about.
You can pull all those guys, man. Go. I put this on everything I love. Go pull an old Sugar Ray Robinson fight up, and you would think it would. Even though it's in black and white, it would look like somebody you would see fighting today. And you would look at him and like, I don't see. You would look at him like he can beat up some of these guys today. Like he
Nah,
was different.
I know I get what you mean, but for me, like one of the things is you have a certain. For me, I feel like there's a certain bias when you're watching fighters before your era and after and in your era. One of the reasons why I say that is because you don't really get, for example, let's say someone were to watch Ali Foreman, they won't get the actual feeling of what watching Ali Foreman was live. You see my
Yeah,
point? Like you watching Wilder vs Fury 3. If someone was to watch that in 5, 6 years' time, and that's the first time they've watched that fight, and they didn't watch it live, it doesn't have the same effect as if you were watching it there and then, like at that specific time, because there's a certain level of politics and
I get,
energy that comes with that fight at that time.
I get what you're saying. I
So,
can
so
understand it.
I'm not saying that you can't do it, but me personally, I struggle to be unbiased when I'm watching old school fighters. That's just what I'm saying. I struggle to be unbiased when I'm watching old school fighters.
I get.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, next joint, Shane.
Um, why are people so big on Tank? He has no big belts. He has not fought anybody that's considered pound for pound or superstar by the looks. He's big sick. He's what? Big SK. I don't know what that means.
mm,
So DM3 now with Tank, are we going out on a limb a little bit because like he has to fight against Floyd, and his overall plan for him, as far as how he's moving his career. Yes. So is it a little bit of foreshadowing? Yes. But ask yourself this, DM3. When you watch Tank, what do you see? And sometimes pound for pound, sometimes it comes down to that. What what do you see when you see Tank inside of the ring? Like when I see Tank, I'm like, there's not a dude at 30, 35, or 40 that he's not gonna have a pretty solid chance of beating. And that's despite Floyd, doing what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying it for a long time. I'm like, he been having the handcuffs on him.
The problem is though, Tank's running out of time. I will say that because there's not many dudes in the PBC side at that weight class, at those weight classes. So yeah, they have to be pretty smart with the way they're moving.
Yeah. Let me get to these. Let me run through these last couple, and then we can continue to cook up. Jo Pedraza was the undefeated champ when Tank beat him at 22 years old. That's his best win in my opinion. Leo was a 4 division champ, and Barrios was a regular champ. Those are solid wins. Jo still don't have Tank in my top 10 pound for pound list though. He's right outside of it. DM3. Why are people so? Oh, hold on. This is a continuation. I'm sorry. Why are people so hyped on Tank? He doesn't have any official hardware, and he has not beaten anybody that's considered pound for pound or superstars yet. He's knocked people out, but the B level fighters. We hold on, Mr. 100 rounds all time. Say for sure, respect. What about Hector Camacho? And Julio Cesar Chavez. Chavez was always top 2, top 3, pound for pound.
yeah.
Always top 2, top 3, pound for pound.
I would
Matter of fact, Stay Ready said it
When
earlier. Pernell Whitaker was 1, and Chavez Senior was
too.
2, and that was in '93.
Yeah.
So he's always been in that top
And I
5
love
for.
Chavez
I
too.
love Chavez.
Chavez
Cha-
was a dog. That like
yeah,
y'all want to know what a real live a fighter that go in there without a care in the world, and I mean literally don't care and is gonna go in there and throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink. Go watch Chavez.
Yeah, and his ability, his transition from defense to offense, and his timing is like all time great. I mean, wicked, like all time great. Like if you need to find out how good Chavez was, like you can probably there's probably a maybe about a 6-7 year gap where you can run through all his fights, and it's like what Stay Ready said. You can watch his fights right now and compare his style to what you see right now and be like, yo, he mows a lot of these dudes down. He mows a lot of these dudes down, man. Like he was a great fighter. I want to touch on the Jamel thing because he's part of the reason why I haven't dropped my list yet. Jamel had one of the best performances that I've seen in a while. And I've been asking for Jamel to give me this type of a performance for a while. When he fought Tony Harrison, I just felt like he just left some things out in terms of them performing. Even when he got the stoppage, I felt like he left some things out. The Castaño fight was the first time I was like, yo, I know a pound for pound dude when I see one. That was a pound for pound performance. Like, and I'm talking every level. Physicality. Then he capped it off with the knockout. And Shane called it. We was on live. He called it. Shane was like, yo, he got the high guard. He about to stand there and just rip on him. And that's exactly what he did. And
with this dude, I mean, why I respect that performance more than anything is because he done it to a fighter who was at the peak of it and prime of his ability. He just went 12 rounds with him, and on many people's scorecards, he won the fight. I'm not saying I had him winning, but in the first fight, it was a draw. Some people thought Castano won. He went in there and showed so many different styles and different ways to skin a cat. And then I remember us watching the fight live, and the round before, Castano was teeing off on Charlo. And I said it, Charlo was getting caught with some good shots. I said, Charlo's going to knock this dude out because Charlo was comfortable. And for the first time in like 16, 17 rounds of them fighting each other, it was the first time I actually saw Charlo sitting in the pocket and he was actually inviting the pressure intentionally. And I was like, that's great boxing IQ. And then he just stepped up the output, and within the next round he knocked him out. I thought that was an impressive performance from that dude. I mean, one of the best performances I've seen in a real long time, and he done it to a top level opposition, top level 154 fighter.
Yeah. I'm tussling with I'm tussling. My top 4 is pretty consistent. It's maybe about 2 or 3 slots where I'm kind of tussling back and forth. It's, to be honest with you, for me, I got, based off my criteria, Josh Taylor should be in my top 10. And I'm trying to find where to squeeze him in at. Because now you got Haney, now you got Cool Boy. I didn't hear you, Shane. You was on mute, baby.
Canelo's the problem with me.
Canelo's the problem. Because to be honest with you, I really want to move Canelo like down on my list. Like I really want to move him down. And it's not just because of the Bivol. It's not just because of the Bivol fight. Stay ready. It's not even because of the Bivol fight.
And I agree. I 100% agree. But I'm gonna tell y'all, bro. I feel like he's ducking stylistically bad matchup instead of actually going out there to be the best.
We had to drop on I said, but we had to drop on the Canelo situation because we was actually going into the fight. We were like, yo, like this was the tougher route than the PBC route because we like Bivol's the toughest matchup out of anybody that's on that list for Canelo.
I agree.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm thinking like, yo, like he's gonna, like he's actually striving for greatness, but Eddie Hearn ran his mouth too much.
But you know what though? I don't think it was that, bro. We said it at the time, but I feel we ended up correcting ourselves. I feel like they thought Bivol was weak, bro.
I think that's what I'm saying. No, that's the point I'm making. We thought he was going after greatness, but we found out that he thought Bivol was sweet, and it backfired on him. It backfired on him. That was the worst style matchup out of everybody that was in the contract mentioned.
When it comes to
He was good.
Benavidez, when it comes to Benavidez, it's just the fact that I would have accepted anything, but the fact that he's now fighting Golovkin just shows to me, bro, you don't want to fight Benavidez, bro, because you said you're going to stick at 168. There's no justification for not fighting Benavidez, bro.
But hey, Shane, but there's not a guarantee he beats Triple G, bro. It's not a guarantee.
Nah, if he don't beat Triple G, bro, this dude,
hold on. Hey, stay ready. Watch this. Watch this. Stay ready. Canelo came nowhere near dominating neither one of the fights that he came that
was like 4 years ago, bro.
That was 4 years ago. Yeah, but styles are styles, and neither one of their styles changed. Neither one of their styles has changed. And actually, Canelo got more wear and tear on the tires than Triple G does.
Because Triple G wouldn't fight nobody. But I'm gonna tell you this. This is where I disagree. I think so. This is probably gonna be the most outlandish take y'all heard on y'all channel, but I'm gonna say this, and I stand on it. I think Triple G, and I'm gonna say this right now. I 100% believe Triple G is the most overrated boxer of all time. Period. Overrated of all time. Now, whether y'all agree or y'all disagree, it's cool.
So I'm gonna tell you what I think about that real quick, bro.
Yeah.
I never rated Triple G that high for me to even put him in that stratosphere. So I never thought he was like, like a top level dude or anything like that. So I guess I just never thought Triple G was that. I appreciate some of the things he brings to the table, but I don't like. I don't know.
I've never asked myself that question.
I never asked myself that question.
I've never asked myself that question. I would have to go through who's the most overrated fighter. I mean,
bro, ESPN and HBO ran a whole campaign on how dangerous this man was, and he wasn't dangerous. Because the reason he was knocking people out is because he was bringing up a lot of people from 147 and 154 to fight him at 160 instead of. And he's supposedly the baddest man from 154 to 168. But has he ever fought outside of 160?
And see, I never bought it. I guess that's where I'm with Shane on this one. I never really asked myself that question because I'm like, I never bought that when Sanchez brought it up to begin with. Like, I'm like, he has a lot of power, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, we've seen guys with more power
I'm gonna be honest
than
with you.
him.
How do you see that he got a lot of power? Because he knocked out David Lemieux? Because he knocked out Kell Brook from 147?
Yeah, but people don't run down on him neither though. And and you know how the gym stories fly. Like he got some cracks. He definitely got some cracks. For sure.
But when he fought somebody like Daniel Jacob, he dropped Daniel Jacob because Daniel Jacob was believing the hype. The moment Daniel Jacob got dropped and fell to his power, what happened? The whole fight right up to it. The whole fight turned. He was right there in the pocket with him. And he was pushing Triple G back. And Triple G wouldn't even go back and rematch him.
I will say this though, stay ready. HBO, they were on their European vibe back then. They was just taking the European guys and they was just boosting them up. What I will say is that his accomplishments doesn't match the hype, the maximum hype that he got. So Triple G at his max in terms of his hype, people was talking about him in terms of the power and stuff like that. They was talking like he was like Julian Jackson or something. That's how they were talking.
I wanted to see that Triple G versus Andre Ward fight so bad. But but Abel Sanchez, his manager, his coach at the time, literally said, "Black fighters don't sell."
Exactly. Yeah, he did say that. But I'm like, but see, in my personal opinion, I'm like the Andre Ward that showed up in the second Kovalev fight beats Triple G. That ain't even prime like Ward. You know what I'm saying?
It's no level of Ward Triple G can even come close to.
Yeah, like it's and listen, Is Triple G a bad fighter? No, he's not. He's not a bad fighter. But when you're talking accomplishments versus the hype, sometimes your accomplishments don't match the hype. And HBO, they went on a run where it was just like, I was like, oh my God. I was around when they was hyping James Kirkland up. And that hype train was pretty good for a good year or so when they was hyping up him and Ann Wolf and that whole combination and all that. They ran with that for about a year. I think that was the last non-European they really like tried to hype up, and then it went straight European after that.
No discredit to James Kirkland, and he's from Texas, and I wasn't high on him.
Yeah, and I was, and the thing was, I was a fan of the combination more so than Kirkland the fighter.
Yes.
And when you look at it, and the thing is, Ann Wolf got the most out of you. It was almost like a drill sergeant. Almost got the most out of you. But when you actually look, if you actually listen to her in between rounds and her actually getting James Kirkland through the fight, really outside of put a jab on his ass, it was really, she wasn't really giving him any technical advice. Like everything was motivation. So I'm like, I was a fan of both of them individually and as a group, but it didn't match the hype. He didn't come close to winning the title. You know what I'm saying? But that's a prime example of a network or a certain fan base or whatever taking a guy status into like icon type status, but then the statistics and the results don't match up. So for that, I'll agree. Stay ready. I'll agree in regards to that with Triple G. I just never asked that. I just never asked myself that question. Is he the most overhyped? Like, I never thought about it, to be honest with you, bro. I never thought about it at all. I think he's like a 4-1 dog against Canelo. But the thing that's crazy though, Shane, I kind of agree with it because I'm like, it's no way they had Canelo lose twice. Canelo got to get knocked out. Like Triple G got to win 10 rounds to get a draw. He going to win 10 rounds to get a draw in this fight. Like, it's no way the cash cow loses twice on the cards. Hell
no chance. No chance.
No chance at all.
I disagree.
Why you say that?
Because the amount of money they would make, so think about this. And I know it's just my business mind working. So the first one was a draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second one, Canelo won. So if Triple G wins the third one, it's guaranteed to be a fourth one.
But see, I think they can stay ready. I think they can pull that off if Canelo wins and everybody thought he lost. I think they can still pull it off.
That's too many times he win and everybody think he lose.
Yeah, but you know the thing, I would agree with you if the zone was out of the equation. For some reason, that's their number one fantasy fight. I think if they could have them fight 10 times, I think they would pay for all 10 of them.
Which is the dumbest, but you know.
Right. It's stupid. You know what I mean? It's absolutely dumb. I don't really get it. Let me get in this last comment real quick. He said, who I see is Adrian Broner, and as soon as he runs into somebody with skills, he's gonna get beat if he can knock them out. DM3, I disagree with that. Tank is different from Broner. I'm gonna tell you why. Tank is a power guy, but he's shown you in previous fights he don't mind checking his ego at the door. He's going to do whatever it takes to win a fight. And the reason I know that is because of the Pitbull Cruz fight. Now, he could have made that a lot more of a difficult fight than what it was. And to be honest with you, if he'd have played Pitbull's game, that's a close decision. You know what I'm saying? But he pivoted out. When is the last time you seen a guy with that much power actually get that technical in a fight when he realized it takes a whole different fighter? DM3, think about this. It takes a whole different dynamic for a guy to walk into a fight that's a known power guy and he's getting 90 to 95% of his guys up out of there. Within the first 3 rounds, he's like, I'm in for a long night tonight. I'm actually going to show y'all my boxing skills. Very rarely do you see that in a power guy. Like Tank is a legit pure power guy. For him to make that decision And to have Pitbull reset, pivoting, get his shots off, slip out the back door without getting touched. Power guys ain't doing that. So you gotta understand that as well. Like Tank has a higher IQ inside the ring than Adrian Broner. Like Broner's more, even when Broner was at his best, and stay ready, correct me if I'm wrong, like his punch combinations, his punch output was similar. He gave you the same combinations every single time. Jab, straight check left hook. You come in with something, check left hook, and he'll give you an occasional uppercut.
That occasional uppercut, and if you mess up, he will throw a slip jab in there, like every now and again. But that's him. When Adrian Broner gets comfortable and he start attacking, now you see him open up with his combinations to where you start seeing a jab, uppercut, jab, straight, hook, uppercut. Like you'll start seeing him throwing in those numbers. You can see that 1-4, you know what I'm saying, 1-5. You'll start seeing those combinations more often. But like you said, he's a counter puncher, so you're gonna see that 1-1 check hook, 1-2-1.
Yeah, but and a lot of this stuff, his counter punch is the check left hook. It don't matter what a guy comes in with; he's coming with that check left hook, and he's trying to throw something over the top. And you've seen that in the Pacquiao fight. He tried to do a jab, and tried that check left hook. And what happened is with the check left hook, Manny had he actually had another step for him, and he had an extra punch for him, and that's how he got that. That's how he got that left hand off that knocked him against the ropes. Yeah, Broner's IQ is nowhere near Tank's IQ. And D'Ambre, and I'm gonna say this last thing on Broner. The last time you seen him open up was from round 5 on in the Jesse Vargas fight. You know how many years that was?
Mikey Garcia fight.
Who?
Mikey Garcia.
You thought he opened up in that fight?
He did in the last 5 rounds. He did.
It was similar.
But he had already lost the fight.
He already lost, right? Okay, so I guess that's where we differ at. The Jesse fight was kind of still like, I think Kevin Cunningham got the most out of him in that fight. I think he got the most out of him in that fight, man. Like I was just like, I'm like, yo, this the AB people be wanting to see, because I'm like, when he decides to turn up offensively, he's a beautiful fighter to watch.
AB is the most talented fighter I've ever seen that loses. I mean, that don't let his hands go.
Bro, it's
like he's the most overrated, underrated fighter you've ever seen. Like literally,
right. And the thing is, I'm like, because people get it twisted. They'll bring up the Maidana fight. I'm like, from round 5 through 8, he was mopping Maidana. He was mopping him. He was mopping him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It was only when he got hit.
It was only when he got hit. But them last 4 rounds before he got knocked down the second time, like, Broner literally got himself back into the fight where he was literally, it was maybe only a 1 or 2 point difference. And once the second knockdown happened, it was pretty much a wrap after that. But Broner is just, he's a dude that he had everything around him that you needed. And sometimes he's the ultimate, it's on me. This one's my fault. You got to think about who he's had in his camp. I'm like, you had Mike Stafford, Barry Hunter, Kevin Cunningham. I mean, how much more discipline do you need? You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't get more discipline than them 3, especially Barry Hunter.
If I would love to see him. Now, I'm gonna tell you something, and a lot of people don't know. Ronnie Shields is probably one of the most strictest coaches I've ever seen. I've seen him cuss his fighters out in the middle of fights that they winning because they're not following instructions.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like Stafford gave him too much rope. Barry Hunter gave him too much of the benefit of the doubt. And then Kevin Cunningham just got in his face. Like, Kevin Cunningham was kind of like the balance between Stafford and Barry Hunter. And it was, but you got to think about it. A guy is kind of high strung as AB is, you would think one of those three coaches could get through to him. None of them got through to him on a consistent basis, and you can tell like he's a guy that survived off of his talent for the longest, but he never actually worked on the skill set. He did the same thing every fight. He never changed it because it worked. He never changed it because it worked. You know what I'm saying? But he's one of the more talented guys you're gonna find. I don't know what he does in the Figueroa fight. That fight is a couple years too late. But it's a must win for both guys, and it ain't nothing like a fight with two desperate guys. So I'm expecting a good fight. I think that's a good fight. And AB, whether he's a small 147, cool. He just needs to fight at 47. He just needs to fight at 47. Him getting down to 140, stay away from 40. He just need to fight at 47 and call it a day, because his weight situation is a situation. Period. Like, it's period. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he tried to drain Sean Porter down and it actually worked against him, he looked more drained than Sean did. You know what I mean? When he had to go down to 144. So we got to factor those, things in. Let me see. And I judge Tank on what he's done, not what he could do. I respect that. And but we're waiting to see Tank. It's kind of interesting to see who his next opponent going to be. I really, on that Mayweather side of the street, I don't know who you put him up against. Like, they literally don't have nobody.
Whoever's with the PBC.
Who?
Whoever's with the PBC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But who though?
I don't know. Honestly,
that's what I'm saying. That's a tough. I mean, listen, he's a star. He's a star. When you break the record for the Barclays with Rolly, you a star. Period. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know who. I mean, can you think anybody stay ready?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he goes. I don't know where he goes. But yeah, but we gonna listen. We gonna close this joint out, man. Hour 37 minutes strong, man. Had my guys Stay Ready ride out with me, man. Stay Ready. Give me social media, baby.
Man, y'all Google me, Stay Ready Boxing TV. You're gonna pop up on all platforms.
Yes, sir.
And check out me and my brothers. We the usual suspect6.com. We got our pound for pound. We got merch. Y'all see some of my stuff in there. My Country Boys Kitchen Cookware, everything. Y'all see it all. So y'all go check it out. The usual suspect6.com.
Hey, definitely go check that out, man. We definitely gonna post family up on the Instagram, Twitter, and all that. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. Stay ready from the jump. You know what I'm saying? You catch me all over the place, man. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, G5 Jeff TV, man. Check the website out, G5JeffTV.com, man. But family, chopping it up with family.
Regis for you.
Hey, man, yeah, tell Regis to come on through, man. Hey, big shout out to Drew Titan too, man. We definitely gonna link up, and all of us need to get together and just like just chop game. Big shout out to the Drew Titan, you know what I mean, that whole squad, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, for sure. And people not gonna expect that neither. So it's gonna be that'll be crazy, absolutely crazy, man. But listen,
let me know if y'all want to do it. I'll holler at him and we can do it on his platform, yours.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, no, we can jump on his. Let's do it.
I bet. I'm gonna hit him up tonight.
Let me know what's popping. But listen, on behalf of Stay Ready, my guy Shane, my guy BoxingFirstVlog, we shout out to him, and your boy G5 Jeff TV, man. We out.
All right.